All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
Shoots over Saxon. Scores over Saxon, a three-pointer. And that'll do it. St. Mary's into the WCC title game with a 76-69 win over BYU.
What's Trending, presented by Bodyguards. Protection for a life worth living. Learn more at bodyguards.com. Another furious rally falls short for BYU men's basketball against St. Mary's. It's so often happened this season, Jarom, that the Cougars dig themselves a deep hole and then scrap and fight like crazy to get back in it, and just didn't have enough to get it done. But it's a lot to ask when you're down by 26, even to get to within 3
But it was
in
too
the
late.
final minute. But it just
32 seconds.
it's just too little, too late. So ultimately, what went wrong for BYU last night, and why did they fall short against St. Mary's?
First off, I appreciate the fight of BYU to
100%.
get it down to 3, but what I don't appreciate is getting down by 26. Like, what went wrong is that BYU had no flow on offense, a lot of one-on-ones. St. Mary's got BYU out of its stuff, which they're 5th in defensive efficiency. They're fantastic. They guard you on ball well. They help. They contest. Offensively, they're super crisp. They're going to get at the rim. They got at the rim the first couple of shots. They missed a few threes to start, but ultimately they jump out like 19-8. They're up by 26, 5 minutes into the second half. It really felt deflating and defeating. And BYU, like in Moraga, made a comeback to make it interesting in the end. And certainly against Dayton, BYU was down 23-1 in the Bahamas. It was like, hey, we've seen a BYU team do this. That wasn't Dayton last night. That was, top 5 seed St. Mary's in the NCAA tournament. So it was tough. Alex Dukas is getting wide open threes. Hayden Mahaney's getting at the rim. But what really changed the game was when Dallin Hall had enough and didn't like the kind of the hand on his back from Hayden Mahaney after a play.
The extended
around,
contact.
And then suddenly BYU kind of got fired up. I just wish that fire had manifested itself earlier in the game in the run of play, as opposed to, I'm really ticked off that we're down 20 right now, and this is going to come out in the form of this play right now. I think that's what happened. I think Down was upset at that, but he was more upset that BYU was down by 20 at that point in the second half. That was frustrating. Credit to the guys that put in the work there. Dallin Hall off the bench, Richie Saunders off the bench. Well, I say this in the nicest way. He's such a spaz, and I love it. Like, he's so energetic. He's willing to do anything that it takes. He finishes at the rim with both hands. It's fun. Tiki Aliatiki had some of his best minutes at BYU all in his 2-year career so far in this tournament. He was tremendous off the bench. Spencer Johnson continued to be that consistent three-point shooter, shot maker, defender. Gideon George did great as well. Those guys were probably toast at the end. That play where Dallin Hall kind of falls down, he's just tired because BYU went with the group that came back. Rarely do you sub in the guys that got you the deficit. You keep those guys in, and BYU was super tired. Too big of a hole. If that hole is 18 and BYU gets fired up, like maybe BYU actually comes back in this one. But let's give them their flowers. St. Mary's really good, man. They're really good. All 3 games within 7, 1-6-7 in this year. Tough to beat a team 3 times unless you're a really good team like St. Mary's. So credit to BYU for coming back, but I just really wish BYU hadn't dug that kind of hole. And unfortunately, it was too big of a hole to get out of.
I'll tell you where it went wrong for BYU last night. The fact that they had to play on Monday. When is Monday ever a good thing for BYU? I mean, traditionally. Well, it's just brutal for BYU based on the choice that the school makes and the athletic department makes, which we support, to not do anything on Sunday. This tournament is not set up for BYU to succeed, although they have accommodated BYU by saying, hey, we're going to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll all take a break on Sunday, and then we'll come back and play Monday and Tuesday, which is awesome that the West Coast Conference did that.
BYU's had Monday wins.
They've had them.
I feel you. I just think they're going to be Monday games in the Big 12. Like, there's going to be some league games. And I will
go into those games not expecting much. It's tough.
Well, we might not expect much in any game.
A tournament format's a little bit different than even a home game on a Monday. Like, if it's a road game on a Monday, yikes. Super rough for BYU, especially in the Big 12.
Well, the women lost both Monday games as well, by the way. Yeah, okay, so you're saying the Sabbath day observance is affecting BYU on Mondays.
That and BYU had to play 2 games on Friday and Saturday.
That was BYU's choice by being the 5 seed.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Right. I'm not making excuses for BYU that they had to play 2 games starting on Friday. But it just going into Monday, I was like, oh, man, I do not like this scenario for the Cougars. And even in the 1920 season, right before COVID hit, BYU was the 2 seed. They're coming out that dramatic win against Gonzaga.
Beat Pepperdine the next week.
BYU did not play until Monday and scored 50 points and lost to St. Mary's.
Only gave up 51, though.
It's just like,
you can still win there.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Monday just feels like a lot to overcome for BYU, especially.
Let's start practicing on Sunday then if we want to win on Monday.
That's not going to happen.
I know, but it's a choice.
That's not going to happen. But you could practice Monday morning if you're playing in a big Monday game and it's home in Provo. Like you could get something going.
They always do that anyway. They have a shoot-around. They have a shoot-around every game day.
Not in your home gym is what I'm making for a big Monday in the Big 12. Like if there's a big Monday game for BYU in Provo, they can practice in their own gym and be ready by Monday night. It's not the case down here for them. And you're off-site, you come here, you play 2 games. It feels like a lot to ask.
They chose not to come on site, right? Because they could have been here for 30 minutes.
I don't know about the particulars of that. I don't know.
My understanding is they could have practiced for 30. I think St. Mary's was just better than BYU. I don't think it was anything bigger than that.
Well, yeah, there's that too. I mean, there's that too.
Really
St. Mary's is awesome, and then you throw in Mondays. Like, there's a lot of things working against BYU.
I'm not huge on I see what you're saying. You're saying outside of the game itself, like what other things can go into this. Hey, this is a choice BYU makes. You gotta do it, and you gotta. It's an advantage that you get, with being attached to the church, and you get access to the certain athletes associated that want to come to BYU. But it can be a disadvantage in that you're not getting in a regular practice day.
Oh, Skylar Halford brought up a good point last week, and he said BYU's got to beat make a bunch of 3-pointers if they're going to beat St. Mary's. You start the game 1 for 8, not great.
Yeah.
That also
play better
is what went wrong.
Yeah. Okay, topic 2. Can you make a good case for BYU to get into the NIT?
Absolutely. It starts and ends with engagement by fans and what's going to draw eyeballs. Yeah, it begins there for BYU. Their metrics.
Is the fan base engaged with this
team?
Their
metrics are okay. They say they're not, Jarom, but we all know that if BYU's in the NIT, they're going to watch because that's what BYU fans do. So as frustrated as they're like, oh, please, end the season. Mercy. Stop it. If BYU gets into the NIT, you will all be watching. That's what's going to happen, and there will be better engagement for BYU than a lot of the other teams that are in the NIT. It will attract eyeballs. Tell me, let's say Utah Valley doesn't win their conference tournament championship, and they get an auto bid into the NIT. You're telling me BYU at Utah Valley would not be an intriguing matchup in the NIT for the NIT selection committee to sell tickets, to draw ratings on a Monday or a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever, hopefully not a Monday game. Okay.
Let's just play it on Sunday at this point.
Utah, or even Utah State. They're one of the last 4 teams in. Utah State doesn't get in. Oh, my gosh. Cougars, Aggies didn't get to play this season. They're going to play in Logan in the NIT in the first round.
It sounds like the worst thing ever for BYU.
They don't care what's bad for BYU. They just want, BYU wants another opportunity to play. Speaking of the players, talked to a bunch of the players last night. They obviously want another opportunity to not finish the season on a loss.
Right. Well, unless you win the NIT, or the NCAA tournament, you're finishing on.
To not finish the season on a loss like that to St. Mary's. Like, they want to play in the postseason.
Yeah.
They want to play in the postseason.
Sure, and that's the only
NIT. They're a draw. Yeah. Ken Palm 75. There have been teams that have had worse Ken Palm ratings getting the NIT in recent years, and the net rating is right on the bubble. Like, it's probably not going to happen, but there's absolutely a case because BYU's a national brand, and it would be a potentially fun matchup with an in-state foe.
I'm off the next 3 days, so I'll get out my opinions here on the show right now.
Please do.
I don't think BYU is going to make the NIT.
Neither do I, but there's a case.
I don't think there's a good case. BYU just wasn't good enough, and obviously this season the guys gave it a good effort. Unfortunately, weren't as good as they were hoping. At the beginning of the season, we knew there were going to be some issues. Unfortunately, those were equal to or worse issues in some cases on the court, obviously, with BYU. Young group that hopefully we look back. I've said this before, like 18 and 19 in football, where BYU goes 7-6, 7-6, and then 20, 21, 22. It's like, okay, this team went to 11, 10, 8 wins, and like took a step forward. Hopefully in basketball we say the same thing in the next couple of years, where it was like, oh, Dallin Hall and Foose and Atiki and Richie Saunders and so on, Jackson Robinson, that group grows together and that in, say, 2 years sniffs or maybe makes the tournament, and we go, the cost was that stinky 22-23 season. That's the hope. So we'll see. I hope if BYU gets in the NIT, I hope the guys are up for it, right? Frankly, I'm not sure they were up for it last year, but being at home a couple of games, they won a few, and that was great. And we're one game away from New York. But knowing that the Orleans awaits them down the road should they make a run, that's certainly not as enticing as it used to be going to Madison Square Garden.
A couple of notes. Are wins against Creighton, Dayton, and 2 times against LMU enough to impress the committee? Those are the best wins that BYU has on the resume.
2-11 in quad 1 and 2. Not great.
Okay. So you've got 2 quad 1 wins.
And then you have 4 quad 3 and quad 4 lists. If they get in, great. If they don't, I think it's okay too. It's just tough. This year was tough.
Secondly, the last 2 times BYU did not make the NIT, coaching changes has happened in Provo. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a case for getting rid of Mark Pope after this year.
There's not. I'm just saying, these seasons do not happen often. If you don't get into the NIT,
there's a high standard here.
It's a bad season.
There's a high standard with BYU basketball.
And the last 2 times it didn't happen, there were coaching changes because of that standard.
05 and 19.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I don't think that. No, Mark Pope, if he wants to stay, he's going to stay.
Yeah.
There's too much that he's done in the first 4 years, right?
And there are other schools that have courted Mark probably every year at BYU.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either.